it doesn't look like Flas Wolves has that on lockdown because they never have been truly challenged over in the LMS region.
Right. Practice is so much about playing enough of these games and putting yourselves in so many different situations that when you find yourself in that situation in a competitive game, you don't have to spend as much time thinking about it, and you can more reactively just act on it.
And we need to see if Flas Wolves can maybe do it with a different composition, but the first step they need to fix is obviously pick and bans, because as Karsa said in the feature, one game we lost because of pick and bans, one game of gameplay. Well, last game they did both. They had the weaker pick and bans. They forwent some of these stronger junglers on first rotation. They matched mid lane picks when they shouldn't. On first side, red side, the reason you want that side is so you can get 2 power picks. And there was the Azir. It was never going to be taken away. Darshan wasn't going to play Ryze top, and even then, not worth it.
And as I thought, you know, in game 1, picks and bans, the first ban that's going to drop off for CLG is that Gangplank ban. They actually substitute for Soraka here after SwordArt's displaying his willingness to steal away more of these ranged champions from Aphromoo.
Really unexpectedly, NL and SwordArt gave Chronologic Gaming a bit of trouble. We thought that would be one of the weakest lanes, so a great ban to come out. Bard as well, respect to the supports around the board. And this is going to be even harder because that Alistar, that Bard, the Soraka is everything LMS has been using to initiate so far.
I like this change from CLG, saying, well, Darshan would just give you the favorable matchup. We saw what it did to Flas Wolves last game. The pacing was entirely started every time from the top lane. Darshan would push in, move to mid, pressure would be given there. Then they could split up. He was the key component in that 1-3-1 as well. And MMD showed that if he plays the worst matchup, Ekko into Poppy, he was suffering.
Yeah, and there's another thing that Darshan can do with this Ekko, right? We always talk about how, you know, the winning matchup versus Poppy, he can get his CS lead, they can utilize him to pressure side lanes on the map, you know, set up these TP plays, set up vision control for themselves. However, the Ekko team fighting, one thing that people have criticized it for, you know, versus things like the Poppy's a little bit more, you know, stable, a little bit more reliable. However, he does such a good job of entering the team fight, you know, and doing this poking and prodding. And it's a lot about keeping in mind the zone controls that your enemies have and landing those stuns, re-engaging with the Ekko, you know, flashing in for these multi-man parallel convergence stuns. But I do like the answer here from Flas Wolves, stealing away 2 very highly prized CLG picks.
Yeah, Ekko brings a lot of chaos to these fights, and CLG seem to thrive in chaos. They switch targets very well. They're always aware of what each and other member is doing. But the reaction here from Flas Wolves is on point. Not only do they take away Huhi's preferred champion, that he can now maybe answer with the Azir, they also steal the strongest jungler, in my opinion, unless CLG want to go for a high-pressure style with Nidalee, but that doesn't seem to be their cup of tea.
Well, it also spells out what everybody wants to see from LMS, is that composition where they're going to go in. They can do that with the Kindred ult. They can get more risky. We'll see if they can still put together a synergizing comp that will somewhat crush CLG. That's what they want to do. They cannot sit back at all. Gonna be tough. That Graves that was banned is now picked up by Xmithie this second time around, and Huhi gets Azir.
And in the gauntlet is thrown. Huhi's saying, well, I won the matchup Ryze versus Azir. I'm just gonna play with Azir versus Ryze. If Huhi now gets a CS advantage and manages to push in again, it just shows that he's showing up better in this series than Maple.
Yeah, and I really, again, want to reiterate the junglers in this matchup of the Azir Ryze are very important, so we'll keep track of those during the game.
I'll keep track of the supports.
Yes. Riv, you keep track of the entire game.
Got it. Done. What will be the lock-ins for LMS? Seeing that Graves, seeing that Azir gives Chronologic Gaming another chance to kind of just spread LMS thin, go for lane pushes. Once again, how will they answer Poppy Ezreal?
Yeah, no real surprises here. They've shown the willingness that MMD is this role player. He's the tank. He was going to be the one, you know, putting all of his money into building tank. He's going to be the front line, and NL has shown such a huge preference for this Ezreal and getting any sort of pick for them to keep him safe. I think that this is going to be another game. I talked about, you know, AD carry uptime before. I think it's going to be more important in this game than it was in the first game, since CLG are going more of this team fight based. Azir hovering just on a comp.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard for NL to pick champions here. Lucian's out. He likes Kalista, but actually has some rough matchups in some of the champions that Stixxay plays, especially if he has to pick his AD carry early, Stixxay having the counter pick here. In addition, if you go Sivir, it has even more weaker matchups, so the counter pick AD carry actually wins in a lot here. And Stixxay and Aphromoo looking to take advantage of that. I like this pivot to Janna Caitlyn. It's actually
the siege,
pretty,
North American siege, baby.
Pretty good into Ezreal. If you whittle him down in the turret, worst case, you will always be the first one to move. And if you look at some of these low wave clear champions that Flas Wolves have drafted together, it will allow CLG to take control of the map, and just as Kobe just yelled out, siege, 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 baby. That's the goal of the game.
We get the Karma coming in for SwordArt. He can somewhat answer for the team now in initiation, but it's got to be a good all-in because then you're left in the fight with nothing potentially. One here for Counterlogic Gaming as we move into the second game of the semifinals. A lot of people thought it would be 3-1. When's that going to be the point for LMS to pick the win up? It is going to be the double TP comp coming from them this time.
Yeah, and two key ultimates that can play very well into the Lamb's Respite. Both the Janna ultimate as well as the Azir soldiers pushing you out, not making you survive as long as you would like to.
And I think this, yeah, like I said, this is going to be a game to really illustrate the team focus of CLG and how everyone's going to do their part to keep Stixxay on 100% uptime.
Well, we know what LMS says about that. It's we. That was one thing that shined through in that video of the Flas Wolves are always behind us. It's not our management. It's not this person. It's we. And that mentality, if they can tap into that, the Flas Wolves can become a very strong team here at MSI once again.
Yeah, and it's actually fun to see that teams have switched positions in terms of what their compositions want to do. Last game, Flas Wolves was very much so playing a 4-1 composition with a losing top laner though in the Poppy.
Right.
So their main focus, the only way to really get out of that chokehold was to siege mid as 4. That's actually what CLG want to do right now. They're playing a 4-1 or maybe a 1-1-3 with the Caitlyn Janna on the side lane. And LMS here playing a clear 1-3-1. TPs on the side lanes, flank and hard engage is what they want to do. Let's see if the teams understand their win conditions and can play towards them. I think CLG does, Flas Wolves won't.
Everybody wants to see the Flas Wolves come out strong. I'm sure they want to see it as well. It's been troublesome if they can't get the early game lead, and that's but one thing CLG has been very good at is leads at 10 and 20. So it's only going to get harder for LMS here in this semifinal. Make sure you're heading over to Twitter, update your series predictions at LOL Esports with the hashtag CLGwin or the hashtag FWWin. Update those throughout the game as well. CLG is going to be on blue side the whole time if we failed to mention that so far. LMS has wanted that counter pick. They're going to try continuously to get it. How are they going to use it this game, though?
Karma support.
Karma support, baby. CLG still owns the Rift North America going into Game 2 with a lot of that backing as they went 2-0 against Flas Wolves in the group stage. And we're going to be on to the Rift to Game 2 right here. We'll see how Flas Wolves starts off early. Like we heard Clement saying, MMD can't go 30 CS down in the top lane. Things at least has to go even here for them to find that first fight and catapult themselves into the lead.
The classic 5th pick, surprise Karma support. It's probably the best solution they had left. They needed a range, if they want to lane, they needed a range support that can somewhat duel and not make Stixxay just completely dump on an L in terms of range advantage, poke advantage, and then even have the shield to win those trades. Ezreal is a very safe farmer.
Yeah, he's a safe farmer, but I still don't really see the direction for Flas Wolves because the Ekko, Darshan is going to win this Ekko Poppy matchup unless there's some sort of early gank from Karsa and they catch him off guard, you know, and return to that lane to try and punish him. Meanwhile, I don't think you can win versus Caitlyn Janna with really anything without a similar tactic, you know, of ganking them or, you know,
it's a lot easier to go even with this matchup. That is the only thing where you arrive.
Exactly, you're just going to go even, and then CLG are going to have that Ekko winning matchup. So I don't see how they're going to stop CLG from doing what CLG's, you know, fulfilling their game plan.
The only way really is Karsa going into the, if it's standard lanes, Karsa going into the Dragon Pit, hopping over, and then punishing Stixxay and Aphromoo if they're sieging and pushing on this Ezreal Karma. Then maybe they can run them down. Other than that, maybe it's just CS split and hope that the rotations from bot to mid won't come out from CLG, because that's what we're looking for. Almost C9-esque in the sense that they did at last Worlds, you know, pushing the bot lane, suddenly 4 members in the mid lane, playing against his low wave clear Ryze.
Seems to be an edge any team can grab on Flas Wolves. The moment you move faster, they react, and they react poorly so far. We'll see if they keep themselves in the lead, and we'll see if a level 2 here against Darshan takes him off guard.
CLG love their swaps though. Again, opting in for the lane swap here.
Yep.
Didn't quite track the amount of information they had. They knew Karma and Ezreal revealed at the bottom, but they could have still went for maybe a blind match here because they do have the favorable lanes.
Yeah, and I think that they also performed really well in this lane swap. Darshan was able to get 3 of those minions. He's actually hovering down bottom right now, not joining in on the double jungle quite yet.
That actually means if Flas Wolves were aware of this, they could send their top laner top right now and just TP and catch this massive wave that's building up. Because Janna Caitlyn really poor dive 2v1. So this is a very greedy, we can't state this enough, incredibly greedy approach here from CLG. But it's so unfamiliar, so uncommon that it might not get punished.
A couple of skill shots do land for the Flas Wolves.
I mean, MMD could TP at any time here and get so much farm completely for free.
Looks like they're all about the turret. They're almost being directed right now to the beat of CLG's drum. They're saying they're taking that turret, we have to take this turret.
Because CLG messed up the push, they now join with Darshan.
Yeah.
Obviously, he could always join the dive 3v1, but since he was level 1, that's maybe the limiting factor. That's why MMD was a little hesitant. But still, could have been a play. It's a risky one, but if that one pays off, then obviously you're in a really good spot in the game.
We'll see who can move faster after this. This is usually where Counter Logic Game is able to take hold of the game, get the forward wards in a little bit faster, but now it's Flas Wolves moving faster. What can they do with that lead?
They have the tempo, and they also have the experience distribution in their advantage. Stixxay soaked up a lot in the top lane. Darshan did not get access to as much as MMD does, and if you're behind in the tempo in the standard 3v0 swap, what it actually ended up in, then top laners will always be the one with the advantage, because you're always the last one to back off. Right now, MMD is soaking in the bottom, and he can take a lot more XP here because the enemy bot lane is already approaching to go push off Darshan. They may be even right now, but it's when they get shoved off to the next wave. That's when a big experience disadvantage is going to kick in for the top laners.
Yeah, we'll check right now because he is at even currently. But again, NL going to arrive first, and there it is. Darshan going to get shoved off.
Yeah, and that's a tempo. You know, whoever bases first gets to make the other top laner's life slightly more miserable.
Yep.
It's not about whether they're crying, it's just about how much tears are flowing out.
Because top laners are always going to be crying in lane swaps, is the point.
Counter Logic Gaming still pushing the forward wards up in the river. Means Maple's teleport back means he has to actually play pretty safe here, waiting for minions to come up. He's not moving out too far. Who he's going to be backing, running exhaust on that side as well. So far, that mid lane is quite even.
Yeah, Flash Wolves' swap against the RNG was actually really good up until the point where the second tower fell. They actually, I think they based to match RNG's Dragon and they arrived late. So traditionally, what we see here is top laner joins, wave gets bounced, he gets it again. Support jungler go Rift Herald, and then swap the map again. Let's see if Flash Wolves follow tradition or give their own taste to this lane swap.
Yeah, it looks like it is going to play out as expected there. Meanwhile, something we haven't touched on really is the mid lane, since we don't hover there very often. But Huhi, the way he's been playing this lane,
thank you, observers.
Magic. How he's been playing this lane though, since they constantly have vision of the enemy junglers, he's just hovering to their safe side. He's shoving out the lane. He's already had 2, maybe even 3 backs. I wasn't counting every single one, but multiple early backs here, just stocking up on small items. First Adoran's Ring, then they actually doubled daggers here, whereas Maple teleported back to lane, but Huhi's been able to keep up there in. Yeah, so far he gets all in though.
Exhaust is there. He throws it on lane. It actually saves him in the last moment. Storm Shield is there for a bit of a bait to Maple, but nobody's following on Aphromoo. And a lot of aggression from Maple. We've been expecting to see that in the hit from him in the mid lane, and Huhi has to blow summoners.
Yeah, he gets slightly punished there for the way that he's been playing the lane, trying to shove up very aggressively and extending really closely because they had vision of the junglers. This time around, though, because they have vision, Maple knows that he can go for that all-in, almost takes down Huhi, gets the summoner advantage for himself.
And this has actually decently large ramifications because it slowed down the Dragon. We see the trade here, Rift Herald for Dragon, so that's in the vacuum, that's a gain for CLG, obviously, but the punish comes like a minute later while MMD is still kind of freezing this lane. Usually you see teams kind of go bot lane here and put up a big Herald push on tier 2 that then translates into maybe rotation mid. That's what we're looking for here. Can Flash Wolves use that Herald for an advantage, or does CLG get away with an early Dragon that then leads to potentially 5 Dragons this series, because both teams are comfortable scaling.
And can Huhi wait out the discrepancy here as far as the flashes go? Because Ryze has the slight experience advantage, plus having flash advantage is huge for the all-in potential.
Yeah. One of the things Huhi's been doing this tournament on Aurelion Sol, on the Ryze, on the Azir, is pushing it out, going down to 10% if he has to, backing and going to push it out again. Pressure for the team, and then they're able to continuously go in and ward. And
I'm loving the pre-planning from Flash Wolves here, something we have criticized them for in the last game. Every single play has been pinged out. Every turret going down, they've pinged out the Rift Herald. Right now they put 2 pings deep in the jungle. The ward locations that they want, this one, and then one that's slightly above. And right now they're still pinging on the minimap, as you can see, of potential threats here. Huhi!
There's got to be 1 or 2.
That was a potential threat. But as we know with CLG, sometimes the potential doesn't deliver.
Classic
meme
checks out.
Yeah, the meme
Here's that
checks
push
out.
we were talking
look,
about in the
this is
bottom
cost.
lane with the Herald. It's going to be a lot of pressure here. Xmithie's heading towards the top side, so him and Stixxay are going to be taking care of that. But Flash Wolves here on the up and up, and they're going to be able to get this one down. Most likely, Huhi showing, though, may just pressure them off and up.
Yeah, not only planning for Flas Wolves, but also execution here on the Rift Herald push to get a huge chunk on that tier 2. This is also going to cost them some damage on tier 1 as far as mid lane goes, because Huhi was called over for it.
Yeah, MMD gets even more out of this swap because he can soak. Because CLG is playing reactionary right now. They were so far behind in tempo. They didn't want to go for that play mid, but they knew they couldn't defend bot as easily and they would lose out on the overall play. So they tried to make a cheeky counterplay with higher risk and higher reward.
Yeah.
It failed in the mid lane, cost them their bot lane tower up to like 20% HP, and allows MMD to soak some more experience in the top lane.
A much, much different game. This was a little bit of deja vu with MMD TPing in, but it was only Stixxay this time, not 3 members to take him down. Flas Wolves is much more ahead of the game than they were in the first of the semifinals. 8:30 and still no kills. They do hold the gold lead, however, and when they hold it, usually they can grow it. Rift Herald now wearing off. They're back to farming the jungle, but Chronologic Gaming is trying to get themselves into some pretty peculiar spots here to make sure they can get a lead back in their favor.
Getting a lead as far as jungle camp control here.
Yeah.
The best lead out of there.
Always have my eye on those.
Call farms for Stixxay and NL as they continue to build up their lanes. Much less action between those 2 duos coming in here to game 2. Much less action all around, and it seems to be really favoring Flas Wolves.
Yeah, Flashers really want that tier 2 tower in the bot lane to cash in on the plays that they made earlier. As for CLG, I want to see how well they can use the combination of the push from Azir in the mid lane with then the Caitlyn traps. That is something that has been their greatest strength in these Caitlyn compositions, is move up aggressively with the minion wave. Disincentivize people from walking up and then put traps down. But now Huhi, it's a slide and glide his way out there.
Keeping it safe. Great forward wards by Flas Wolves as well. It looks like they're going to have SwordArt here. Baiting in a few of the attacks, but it doesn't look like they're going to get too much off Huhi here.
Yep.
Again, keeping himself very, very safe.
Safe rebuttal there from Huhi, getting some exit damage. Also, you can see hovering the safe side where they have wards. Now CLG are moving in to try and clean off their red buff jungle here.
Now this is where Flash was made the mistake in the past in the group stage. They want too much. When they get a lead on the map, they start initiating freezes. Aphromoo.
That's going to be Aphromoo with the Ignite on. He's down. First blood going over to Maple. Thought he might have made it out, but Darshan could be next. SwordArt.
They can turn this
and
around.
The rest of the teams baring their teeth now on the Flas Wolves side, and it looks like they're getting what they want. Is there any more to boot, though?
It's so dangerous when you say you're going in to clean off the quadrant of the jungle that the enemy previously had control of for so long in the lane swap. That was dangerous for Aphromoo to go face check, but Flas Wolves get away with such a
They get away with murder here.
Exactly. They don't have top lane teleport, so the top laner can't join for that. The numbers would be against them. MMD gets huge advantage. Look at this, level 7 to level 5. Not only did they get for the first blood with the...
A flash over from Maple, very nicely played to get out of range of Xmithie, and he actually has SwordArt just behind him. That's going to be the Mantra Shield, not in time though. He used it to speed up to Maple, and Maple's not stopping now. When he gets Huhi in his sights, he will drop that health bar.
Yeah, that's the ramifications of that play. CLG, again, they see top lane, they see teleport advantage, so they want to shift the control to the bot side of the map to make sure that MMD has to push out. Any team that is playing somewhat safe options kind of will push out that top lane, but Flash Wolves, not only were they freezing, they go for a 4-man punish knowing they have TP down, and they get away with it. The payoff is huge, but it could have cost them all the momentum they had into this game.
It's so risky to spread that thin this early in the game when it is so close, but they got such a big reward on both sides of the map that now overall, huge advantage. We'll see how they can work with it though.
I mean, it's completely insane to see a Poppy 20 CS above an Ekko in that matchup. Lane swaps, baby.
Got him.
You're in love, Krepo. Maple and Karsa towards the mid lane here. Chronologic Gaming all out of sorts. Nobody here to even get any damage back onto Maple Karsa, so they continue to prep these turrets without any danger. And CLG is in reactive mode this game compared to game 1.
Just look at the pings. Flash Wolves ping Dragon here. The mid wave is pushed up. Ryze is now going to hold that wave. So CLG can't trade this objective for a potential mid push if they suddenly show up. They have NL safely farming up. They're playing double tier. It's not as punishing a double tier comp when there's a Ryze in there.
Yeah.
It's not a slow scale, you know.
I don't really count Ryze as a weak champion when he's sitting on tier because mana is combat stat for him.
CLG looking to get a Rift Herald of their own here, control the map a little bit more, very strong when they have at least one lane in their favor, yo-yoing the other team out of position.
This is going to be where Flas Wolves collect on that earlier advantage, though, and the bottom turret is extremely low. It is going to be going down. CLG, meanwhile, they're not pushing up the wave. They're not trying to answer back here. They're going to have the Janna, Caitlyn move up, but it's going to be too slow here.
They need to send 2 guys to the bottom lane because they're afraid of Flas Wolves reading the play and going for a continued push.
Yeah.
Because Darshan is actually so far behind that if they commit multiple members to the bot lane, they could maybe lose an inhib tower here.
Yeah, Flas Wolves should be able to collect this pretty easily. It's just so dangerous for CLG to try and extend on this top side. They just have to play it pretty slow right now.
Yeah, need to wait for a mistake somewhere or find an opening where when all these tier 2 towers are falling though and you can keep the gold gap relatively close, you can equalize turrets later on.
Woo! You can see the advantage in the preparation of wards too. Flas Wolves took the bottom turret, and there's 2 times as many wards as what CLG is trying to use to take the top. They're trying to be in and out while Flas Wolves is actually having a little bit of time to work with here as they work their strategies this time.
Yeah, it all started with the lane swap. I mean, we overuse the word tempo, but it is so important. Whoever has the first move, whoever makes the first play, it forces your opponent to be reactive, and defending is losing generally in lane swap. So that's why we keep seeing trades with minor advantages on the side that was quicker on that first tower.
And the key is that Flas Wolves were able to collect on those minor advantages, plus that huge play in the red quadrant of the jungle.
Yeah.
Bursting down for first blood.
And the missed play from Huhi. The reactionary play here, shuffling in but just whiffing the ulti.
Yeah, the gambit there from CLG. You know, you talked about taking the risk and failing on it.
So much more control for Flas Wolves here. A blue wasn't even something they were looking at on the side of Chronologic Gaming in Game 1. And it looks like CLG is really going to have to rethink the way this is going. They have time to scale, obviously, but Flas Wolves is definitely putting their foot down on this game. Looks like mid-turret will be the next objective.
So what's big here for Flas Wolves is the poke. If Karma and Ezreal can land their skill shots and try and force CLG off of the turret, you know, poking Huhi away from wave clearing, then they can try and press the advantage here, try and move deeper into CLG territory. They do have their double teleports ready. If they catch somebody out of position, CLG are just trying to hold their defensive line here. Moving Caitlyn in, also setting up those traps is a pretty good boon for their defense.
Yep. Yeah. The silver lining on that cloud of poke, though.
Afro, though.
Ooh. Still got Monsoon. No, he doesn't. He's level 5. He's going to be able to squeak his way out of that one, though. And Flas Wolves, they're almost taking members as they take towers, which gives CLG less to work with on the map. Arcane shift out very nicely by NL to avoid the damage. Follow through from Huhi.
The right approach, setting the dive, make him move away from the tower, then take it down. The silver lining, though, I want to get back to on the poke cloud, kind of, is that SwordArt right now. He'll probably be maxing E on the new Karma. He has 2 points in Q, but it's just so good to get a lot of these Mantra E's off in fights. So the poke component of that Karma isn't as high, but it's still something you have to deal with because he can speed up the Ryze, and it's not really poke if he just kills you. So the delivery of the artillery.
The one-hit KO poke.
Yeah. It's poking, technically.
I'm interested to see what happens when Chronologic Gaming gets the squad together. These exhausts are using combination. The shields as well and heals from Aphromoo could throw off one of these quick kills. Maple, Karsa, and the other team is looking to really zero someone out.
We're seeing Darshan equalize, though, and Flas Wolves, remember, we're going back there, playing a 1-3-1, and side lane pressure is paramount to victory. And if Darshan is allowed to equalize, at least he can hold MMD and remove some of that momentum, some of that, you know, roam potential, dive potential that MMD earlier had in this matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah, CLG, though, so far this game, they've been licking their wounds. You know, after the chance that they took on the mid lane and the advantages there for Flas Wolves down bottom, they're just trying to hold it together. All right, Flas Wolves going to come in. Can they get money off that Azir turret? Oh, they cash in. That's always a pretty huge thing to note as well. Azir turrets can provide you a lot more zone control and try and give you that little outpost. But it is an extra bit of gold that you're giving away as well if they can knock it down.
And very telling in their approach to the game here again. Wherever Flas Wolves are going, they point a huge arrow with wards on the map. Deep vision in between the lanes they're playing on. Generally the lane that Poppy is not on, and trying to identify the next objective, which is now the tier 2 tower. And it does look like MMD is getting some favorable trades here in the bot lane.
Wasn't that the way last time, as well as his team trying to take what could be a second-tier turret in either top or bottom side. The slow push here from Maple as they work their way forward. And great aggression coming into the mid lane. A bit of damage onto Huhi could mean more for Flas Wolves.
CLG is fine right now, holding on, because it's very hard to breach some of these harder turrets, but it's when the Baron spawns, and then a couple of minutes more, that Flas Wolves have a third option. They can turn and go for the Baron bait.
Exactly. The Dragon's very easy for CLG to give away at this stage in the game, but the Baron is not.
Huhi, or rather, Stixxay, I should say. Huhi walking over, but Stixxay just trapping out that entire top side, so Flas Wolves doesn't really have an option to get themselves through. But as you guys just said, with this pressure they have, they're going to have the wards for getting themselves back to Rift Herald and making sure this top side of the map is theirs to control.
Those Caitlyn traps are always like hilarious for me. When they span the lane, you pan over, and it's like, we have to build a wall.
It's effective, very annoying to dive
by
against.
Himself.
That's why we talked about, the defensive capabilities of this CLG lineup. Yeah. Not only is it good in sieging offensively, but Azir, Caitlyn, Janna also extremely annoying to deal with when you're in the Flas Wolves position and you have this advantage in the game. You're trying to poke and prod, you're trying to increase your lead, but really that comes in the form of the vision inside the jungle, stacking up these neutral objectives. Flas Wolves should jump on this dragon. I don't see CLG even trying to go contest.
Yeah, because there's some TP wars lingering in the end.
Oh, and got it this time!
Oh!
Was there a...
He's good. No, there wasn't.
No.
Oh,
he saw him walk
word.
there, probably with the ward. That's the top left of Red Burst. There's a ward. He probably saw the jungle there, but the timing on that.
And people, NL's known for sniping away objectives like this on Ezreal. He's on his comfortable champion. He's past his tier point. He's got basically the key of the blue Ezreal build done. We'll see if he can perform in team fights next, because it's looking very good for Flas Wolves at the moment.
Wow,
Yeah.
we were talking about a 5 Dragon for CLG here with the control that came out of last game, but now 2-1 in favor of Flas Wolves.
And
that's stark difference.
That's a trade right there. They even went for a cheeky reactionary play. Aphromoo had to walk mid to help Huhi, who's now in trouble against NL, but geez, everybody's fighting.
Xmithie could actually go down here. Lamb's Respite is up. They're going to... Oh! It's a retribution kill back and forth. Darshan looks to continue the fight. A push from Maple on the top, but the TP is there for MMD and the rest of the team. Looks like they decide to back off for now. Love it.
Yeah, well, the thing is, CLG are actually pretty happy with taking that trade. They still have the Caitlyn, Janna, and Azir up to try and wave clear now. Let's take another look at the burst. Jumping into the shotgun while you're diving turrets, yeah.
He did it there already. He jumped into one shotgun shell.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? Let's try that again.
Flash forward. Boop. Level up and
that flash
shot
ultimate actually there from MMD was pretty impressive, though, to hit that long-range poppy. I mean, that's an ultimate that gets dodged quite frequently.
Yeah, he's definitely more confident this game, obviously out of the lane swap. Very clean snowball so far from Flas Wolves. It all started, and these little things always interact with each other. The fact that Aphromoo had to step mid to help Huhi slow down the dragon, gave a bigger advantage and more time to set up the play for Flas Wolves. They're actually planning ahead this game. Many pings going on. Continuously watching the minimap is actually quite enjoyable here, because they're always identifying what their next play is with pings.
It's a flip on the gold lead, a flip on the game, and you're right, Kobe. No, they could not run that comp again. They don't. Flas Wolves coming out much stronger. Your analysis was correct.
Right, you can. That's just such a loaded question right before we toss away.
In under 10 seconds, we need to change.
One more point. So Muramana finished up on NL. He has been huge this game without even really being on the screen. Just the true shot barrages and the farming of every lane. 214 to 187 there. And Flas Wolves do not look to stop anytime soon. Sinking their teeth again into Aphromoo. Almost hitting once again. A true shot barrage that missed. I think you just need to chalk that one up. It doesn't happen very often.
Good vision coverage here from Flas Wolves. Notice they praised
Maple.
Whoa. All right.
Poke. Krepo, half of your life in poke.
Very silent, very silent.
Oh, they're actually going to extend.
More poke.
Where's the rest of it? MMD teleport by. They're going for Huhi, going to try to lock him down. Emperor's Divide is there, so it's actually separating the team quite a bit. But MMD and the rest of the team are practically 3v1 until they can get the rest in. 3-1 in kills right now. SwordArt and the rest of the team looking to bring this one up an octave and get some more kills. It's just Huhi at the moment, and the TP can come back in from Darshan on home guard, so they have to be careful.
Yeah, motion sickness on our observers right now. The fight is everywhere suddenly out of the blue. Flash will set up the perfect bait, but then they get tired of baiting and they go for a very chaotic fight. They find one.
Yeah, it's going to take off one of the big parts of the wave clear here for CLG, though. And now Stixxay out of mana, going to try and do it at the turret. Not going to be enough, and Flas Wolves going to claim a secondary turret.
The Mantra Shield, and then for Xmithie to throw collateral damage into that, you're not getting much out of it. Stixxay could easily go down here, very low on mana. It's the push through. Aphromoo low as well. A last hit from Maple, and he can't get through with even the Seraph's Embrace on. Flas Wolves are knowing when they're going too far, and it's really benefiting their lead.
Yeah, they're not going too far. Just far enough, able to take the head of the AD carry there as well. Both carries going down for CLG, and Flas Wolves are striking back in a very big way game 2 here.
Yeah, Maple definitely not afraid of going too far. So just spearheading that push here. Let's watch this again. So the bait here starts out fine. They can clean so much vision here.
Huge from MMD.
But they decide to just go in because they find Huhi in the backline. That ward in the Wolf Pit is what won them the fight.
Perfect stun there onto Huhi. They're able to take out the center of the team from CLG. After that, everybody's scrambling.
I actually wanted to go back to the start of that replay where Maple actually decided to chase into Fog of War while they had complete vision denial. Wonder if it wasn't even better for Flas Wolves to just kind of bait there again, make the pick off, because it feels like CLG can't actually face check. They have no catch whatsoever. They have limited brush control. Their blue trinkets were going down.
Yep.
So Flas Wolves unwilling to wait for the play. If they find the opening with the double TP, why not?
And this is why we keep pointing out the wards that Flas Wolves are leaving behind. When they move up into the jungle, there's always a point there for MMD to create that play. That was all because of that Wolf Camp teleport that they were able to get behind CLG.
And it's really hard for Aphro to clear because in the lane swap, support's trail behind in levels, and he's still level 7, so he doesn't even have the upgraded sweeper, so he can only guess roughly where they're put, and some smart ward placement in the Wolf Camp there.
Not only is it guesswork, but it's also dangerous guesswork. Every time we sweep over Aphromoo, he's getting chunked out.
Playing Minesweeper, but kind of in virtual reality.
The mines are moving as well, you know.
Maple now 3-0-0, comes into the series at a 7-2 KDA to Huhi's just about 2.88. You can see the stark difference there in the resources being flooded into Maple now with the kills, with the rest of it. And as they start to push this top lane, CLG has to answer. The respect has to be given. MMD is going to start to yo-yo that aggression and see if they can keep CLG on their toes.
Great answer here from Flas Wolves, though. Is CLG, you can tell their options are diminishing and they're feeling the pressure. This is actually CLG with the ones making the risky calls here. Great minion clear there from MMD with the Poppy ultimate, and that just completely negates your push. Secondary turret goes down. Big pick. Oh! Ooh, he's out.
It almost looked like a tilt play, but it wasn't because there was people above our camera that we didn't see approaching Huhi, so you had to go for the defensive sweep.
Yeah.
But yeah, he kind of forgot about the Poppy W there, canceling any and all dashes.
And it's not one of those moments we saw in previous games as well where Huhi could actually go in on one of those plays, but CLG is there to back him up. They actually aren't as strong. So they have to respect what Flas Wolves is bringing to the table. 25 minutes in a 7,000, well 6,000 gold lead as it ticks up here.
Yeah, Maple's positioning here on the side lanes has been exquisite, always choosing the right one. Now in the bot lane, because obviously there was a minor teleport cooldown still on MMD. He's pushing it in, and he also has the biggest winning matchup out of all these matchups. So wherever Maple faces, Maple will push in, which means there's one guy reacting. Maple has the first move, whether it's teleport, roll, join somebody. They make great use of him. They likely will want him back on the top side later on, though, because he's much more potent at punishing picks, too. Ranged champion with a snare.
They're pretty much playing the I can do anything you can do better this game. They take the Ryze on their side and they start doing what Huhi did last game and splitting those lanes, and they're doing it fantastically. Able to deny way more blues, take their own as well, and with the little one-offs of NL stealing, getting his true shot barrages on, it's playing on the mentality of Counter Logic Gaming. And right now it doesn't seem like they have any quick way back into this one that Flas Wolves is giving them.
The 3-item blue Ezreal build peaking right now. Ryze also sitting on 3 items, whereas the carries for CLG a full item down. Yeah. And they are, again, still huddling around that campfire inside their base. It's very difficult for them to get out and contest these Barons. Flas Wolves trying to draw them out.
All right, where are your pink wards, Flas Wolves? They need some more pink wards. If you have this much gold lead and this many slots available, you'd think they would invest a little bit more in vision denial. They really want to set up that free Baron.
taking their time to do it for sure. Actually, one of those pink wards just got moved from the red buff of Chronologic Gaming, so they're starting to shift the side of vision and where they actually need that advantage. And it looks like Baron will be the star. Xmithie's gonna have to check, but the team is very spread for this. It's going down in favor of Flas Wolves.
3,000. That one's going to go down, and Xmithie.
Oh, they pulled off really quick. Xmithie has a chance to get back in, but they pulled off and stopped doing any damage to bait Xmithie further. The quick draw he used did not allow him back into the fight. A hit out. Huhi and Maple going head-to-head right now. Flash is back, and it looks like Flas Wolves come out on top. They're going for Stixxay. The slow as well, and that's MMD around the cupcake. Aphromoo with Howling Gales all event long, saving Stixxay's rear, but I don't know how much it's going to be. Here comes Maple. Flash and Summoners are down, but he's going to be in range. Another Howling Gale predicted from Aphromoo. The flash to safety. They're still going to find what they want. Flas Wolves bites down once again, and they don't give up.
Unrelenting aggression here from Flas Wolves. They want to make a statement here in Game 2.
They definitely did, and CLG trying to go for a miracle steal and fight at the same time cost them. Flas Wolves are going to finish the game right now.
Everybody asked for it. The relentless aggression, where did it go from the regular season of the LMS? The Flas Wolves taking down AHQ. Where is that team? They're back. They're at MSI. Can they do it again, though, is the question, and possibly even pushed off here without the finish. Not enough damage to take down the towers in the end, but a huge lead for Flas Wolves now to help close out the game soon.
Can they do it again is the question.
Can they do it again?
Not yet is the answer.
It's at this point where we remind everyone CLG have come back from a 17,000 cold lead here. But again, this is CLG going for the Hail Mary. I mean, Xmithie uses everything he has to go for the suicide steal. At the same time, Darshan is trying to go 1 versus 2 basically off on the other side of your screen, and it's going to cost them everything. You either make the decision, I think at this point, CLG going into that, we're like, you know what, either you give away the whole the Baron, in which case you're going to lose out a lot more on the siege, or you go for just sending in on the Miracle Steal and you don't try and fight afterwards. But Flas Wolves take a lot after that play.
Yeah, CLG came back from like, what, 70K? There's teams out there that came back from like 25K, but that doesn't mean you're supposed to. I know that your opponents kind of played their A game, especially in the case of CLG. I don't think RNG was playing their maximum input there.
Definitely asking a lot to try and come back from this, and Flas Wolves not looking to let it happen, pushing in with Baron buff.
And definitely a difficult team on the side of CLG to get these cleared out without being in a dangerous position to get engaged on. They're doing so ever so slowly as Flas Wolves waits for the next wave. One pouring in through mid lane now on the caboose of Maple as they try to make their way into the base. The traps have been set, and MMD is going to go to town. Whoa, Xmithie very, very low. Maple, one soldier away. The trinket's down for Darshan's chase. Maple takes that out, and he hopes to be able to get himself to safety. It does not look like the chase is there for Darshan. He's going to have to choose when to pull back off of that because Flas Wolves is turning Counterlogic's base into shambles. And it looks like it's going to be the full chase. There's nothing there, but he is keeping Maple from coming back. He's got to figure when this is not worth.
Darshan's going for the moral victory. He needs to kill someone this game. He's looking forward to add another to his name, but not going to be able to track down Maple. Maple not going for the lazy recall.
Yeah, he's hoping if he kills him now, he starts 1-0 up in the next game. Sadly, that's not how it works.
CLG still hold on to their base, though.
30 seconds.
And as long as they have the Nexus.
I like the positive spin on things here.
Hold on. Well, hold on, as long as they've got that Nexus
Optimist
standing.
Kobe.
That's how it changes. Guys are behind. It's fine. We have late game.
Yeah.
So you usually say it.
Well, you just go, farm for late. A lot of the times you're joking, being a little bit facetious, but
are we?
At the same time, you're like, it could happen, I guess.
You always have to ask yourself, have I thrown a game like this before?
Yeah, exactly.
Then they can too.
I can't say I did. I don't know if you guys.
I've thrown
9-2. That was the point.
I've thrown bigger ones than this one.
32 minutes in. Flas Wolves making a statement for themselves here in Game 2. And can Counterlogic Gaming answer to come?
I think the important thing to take away from this game is the way in which Flas Wolves came back.
Yeah.
So much better preparation. They beat them in the lane swap. They beat them very early on and multiple times.
They executed, honestly, almost flawlessly. But the one caveat is, the hell was CLG doing in the early game? That strategy, I mean, sending your jungler and your top laner at the opposite of the side of the map for like a 3-minute 15 crux, to then have him walk up to the lane, realize he can't farm, have to late switch, go for a panic pivot move into the mid lane that fails and sits you even farther behind in tempo. This is not the CLG we're used to seeing, because they used to be so methodical, so predictive of the map plays. The main critique we had for them is individual plays.
And I think the play that they tried to pull off, the very risky play in mid lane where they lost even more after it failed, means that they should revisit their respect all, fear none. You know, after game 1, do they think that they can take a lot more of those risky plays and get away with it? You know, a lot of Flas Wolves playing much better, and a little bit also of CLG going for those.
The Cupcake's not doing too much here as Flas Wolves continue to eat him up, and the turrets along with it. Teleport now coming in. That's going to be the home guard. That could be a dead Stixxay, but he backs off quite quickly, putting down some traps. Maple's going to go ahead and play that front runner. He still finds Stixxay. There goes MMD. They knock him straight up. The Monsoon only saves him for so long. And the Flas Wolves are looking to put a win on the board. MMD saves by Lamb's respite as Karsa throws it down. The rest of the fight up to CLG's Darshan in the front. Xmithie trying to throw damage from the back. Huhi with one final go, and he puts himself in a great position for it to be a 1-for-2, but Darshan falls. There's not much damage to follow up from CLG here. Xmithie doing his damnedest with Aphromoo shields behind, and Xmithie will fall as well. It'll take a while with SwordArt and MMD, and it actually might just be a chase down that gives CLG long enough for Stixxay to come back up for the options to save the Nexus. They have the minions and LMS as they go onto the Nexus turrets 35 minutes in. Just 4 minutes later from their previous push, they look to make the semifinals a true series here and take this game over Counterlodge. Are they going to leave? Are you going to leave on me? It's just Stixxay comes back up with the Hurricane. They're waiting it out.
They're giving the super minions a little bit more credit. Add them, get them in the picture. Nexus is going to explode.
God, I'm playing with my emotions. They're tugging on my heartstrings. And yes, we do have a series. GG to the LMS Flas Wolves.
Yeah, they were waiting for the second play by Playcaster to swap in and take over from Rivington. It's all about mental warfare. It's not about like whether you win. It's the manner in which you win. You want to take away as much hope as you possibly can at the end of the game.
Demoralize.
Yeah.
Talked about, you know how the mental part of the game is going to be big for both of these teams.
It's those little things. Just going to stand there and watch the minions take the Nexus.
Statement game here from Flas Wolves coming back after the
prove
opening.
they can pick themselves back up, whether it be one person they need to or the entire team.
I liked it because especially in group stage, they were horrendous at 1-3-1. They maybe had one successful phase in a game, not even a whole game. They played some of these super hard 1-3-1 compositions that would fall off late game, and they failed to identify their win conditions. This game, they executed the lane swap very well. They built on that advantage. They continuously identified every single objective with the pings, with the wards. It was almost like textbook play.
And much more comfortable. There wasn't the, we need to play Soraka to take it away play. That brings you out of your comfort zone, and we saw the karma coming in. It's not a last-ditch effort for SwordArt. It was used fantastically to mobilize the team and get them where they needed to be.
I mean, the team play here for Flas Wolves this time around, just so much better, so much cleaner. And I think that they're going to be singing, I guess, back in there after that one. But honestly, both teams are going to have to refocus after that.
It's going to be an amazing series now that we have here. A lot of people thought coming in here it would be Counterlogic Gaming 3-0 due to the way that it was a 2-0 in the group stages.
If you're a North American fan, you got to be careful about going for that. The blind faith has gotten us into trouble before.
Especially after a 2-0. That's when things get a little messy, especially when best of 5 gets in there. But overall,
Spawn is new at this North American faith thing, and it was like, 3-0,
Rookie mistake.
Yeah, right.
Well, you know what? At the end of another game, we do have to toss it over to the analyst desk, and we'll figure out what those guys have to say about that win.